Hi, my name is Melissa Rachel Black. Thank you for checking out my second video, how to move through depression. I wanted to talk to you today about an issue that I think about a lot, and it's going to be kind of impromptu because I've been putting it off and putting it off, trying to think of ways to make it perfect and to have it be more than what it is, and what, I'm wanting it to be more better produced or more put together. But I figure that I might as well put this out there because it might help somebody, and that's more important than looking perfect. So to start off, I want to tell you a little bit about my history with depression. I have always been an okay person. I've been sad, I've been happy. Depression runs in my family, bipolar as well, but I was never diagnosed with it. And I don't think I'd really experienced depression until last year, at which point it hit me really, really hard. And I guess it was labeled as a temporary depression, but for me it didn't feel temporary. It was labeled post-traumatic stress disorder because I had experienced a really traumatic event with my family, and that left me just completely debilitated physically and mentally. So I'm not going to go into too much what happened, I guess because I think that it doesn't really need to be said, but just something that not all people go through, and just feeling powerless to help. So I'm going to talk about, I guess, what I was experiencing, which was lack of hunger, lack of interest in things that I call my passion, and just kind of, it kind of came on slowly, which was confusing to me because once I realized, I'm not hungry and I freaking love food. So for me to not be hungry, that was insane. And for me to not be interested in art or in creating, that was really scary to me. And just to feel too scared to do anything at all, that was just terrifying for me. I really didn't know what to do about it, and because the trauma that I was going through was happening to my parents, I didn't really have people to talk to about it, or at least that's what I thought. Anyways, it was a really long process. We're now at about a year since I felt the depression lift, or start to lift, because that was a process too. It wasn't like magically one day gone, but it's different for everyone. So anyways, what worked for me, I guess, was a lot of things. I don't know which one thing did the trick, and I don't think it was one thing. I think it was a combination of trying a lot of different things. I think I made it last a lot longer than it needed to as well, because I was resisting it. I didn't want to be seen as a person that I couldn't believe that I was depressed. I have a lot of things to be grateful for. It felt, especially because there's so much bad stuff going on in the world, it felt like, who am I to have these feelings? And so I guess what really helped me was knowing that people that I really, really respect and admire had been through the exact same thing as I had, that I was going through. And even though it was hard for me to believe, I think that was the main thing, really, choosing to believe that even though things don't feel okay, that they are okay. And as cliche as it is, it will pass. And just truly believing in it. And I think believing in something is difficult when you think, like, you feel like you have no proof. And that's the point in believing. Like, you just have to believe that it will pass. Otherwise, like, you're not going to want to make it through. Like, these feelings that you're having are almost too much to handle, and I totally understand that. And I'm sorry if you're going through that right now, but seriously, it will pass, and you will feel like yourself again. Okay, so I'm gonna look at this list that I wrote and go through some of the tools that helped me. First one, I guess just accepting help from people around you was a really big one for me. Like, letting people see you vulnerable and not pretending that you're feeling okay. Just like, accepting the depression doesn't mean necessarily like giving in and giving up and like saying screw it to the world, which you are allowed to do some days. It's totally okay. I still do that even now that I'm not depressed. But what it means is just like saying, okay, like, I am depressed, and taking the next step anyways, whether that be, pouring yourself a bowl of cereal or calling a friend just to say hi. Just be depressed and take the next step anyways. I also got a therapist, and I know that is kind of cliche and sounds scary, but I think that it was definitely probably the number one thing that helped me, because I found someone that I felt like I could trust and that understood me. And just even saying how I felt, like, a lot of times I didn't feel better afterwards, but the first 10, 20, 30 times that I talked to her, I just cried. I just cried through the whole conversation. And it's a lot of healing that you're going through. Even though it feels terrible, you're growing a lot during this process, and you're healing like really deep-seated wounds. I guess I'm mostly talking about temporary depression at this point, because I don't know what it's like to have ongoing depression. But certainly I do. I mean, I certainly have my days now, so it's not like you have one period of sad and then you have one period of happy. You're always happy. It's kind of, even in the midst of my darkest days, there was maybe one day a week where I felt like, oh, like, I'm fine. So also know that it does, like, you will have more and more days like that. Like, sometimes you might slip back and have 2 full shitty ass weeks, but it does increase in getting better does happen. Exercising, forcing yourself to exercise is really important, just because it helps release dopamine. Like, I freaking hate running. I hate exercising. But I think it's part of just accepting that it's okay to feel uncomfortable and pushing yourself through that one, those, even I would say to myself, run for 10 minutes. And if that's all you can handle today, that's fine. You still did awesome. Even if you can only walk 1 block, just do that. It will help both physically and mentally, to kick in those chemicals in your body that make you feel better. Another tool in the toolbox that I really didn't want to get involved in was medication, like antidepressants. And eventually I did opt for it, because I felt like I just wanted to try everything that was available. Like, I didn't want to be stuck in this period forever, which is what felt like was happening. So I did try it. I don't know if it helped. I'm still on it. I don't think that it was the number one thing that helped, but I do think that it could be a contributing factor. There's a lot of chemicals that go on in your brain, and especially when you've experienced trauma and grief, like, there's just shit that's out of your control going on in your brain. Chemically, there's science to it. I don't really understand it, but look into it. Don't reach for it immediately, but also don't feel bad about it. Like, the thing that kept me from going to it for a long time is the stigma around it. that it means you're quitting or you're weak if you have to turn to it. And that's not what it means at all, in my humble opinion. I think it's really courageous and humbling to say, like, I'm willing to try whatever it takes to take care of myself. And that's really what the whole process is about, taking care of yourself. You really, no matter what you feel like, just take care of yourself and try and treat yourself well. A thing for me that was really tough was I really like to eat healthy, and I just didn't have the energy to, like, cook big veggie meals. And so something that my therapist said was just, like, don't ask, like, what can I make? Just say, like, what can I eat? And if that for now is just, like, pre-packaged meals, like, do it. Like, don't stop eating, please, because that makes it harder. I get really angry while I'm hungry. Hanger, some of you might know. You know, getting enough sleep and getting enough exercise and getting enough food, like, those are really basic needs that you might think aren't important when you're feeling depressed, but those are the most important things. Also, at the top of the list is talking to people. Don't isolate yourself. Seriously, I know it's terrifying to be shitty and depressed and sad around people, but people who matter will not be pushed away by this. They will not be repelled. In fact, it brings you closer. I made a lot of incredible connections during that time because I talked about it to everyone, like people that maybe you would think is inappropriate to talk to. I talked to coworkers about it. I talked to strangers. I couldn't think of anything else. So it's not that I was so brave in doing it, but when I thought, like, I was having a meltdown in front of friends, really I was connecting with people on a deeper level. So really, don't be afraid to talk about it. Please call a friend and talk about it. Yeah, just someone that you trust as well, because not everyone understands what you're going through. And to me, it was really important to find people that had experienced what I experienced. And I needed to be told over and over that they made it through and that they were really as bad as I was. Let's see, what else? I got a cat. I really, really wanted a cat, and she is the light of my life. She, like, just having someone there with you to snuggle all the time and who loves you no matter what, it's amazing. And just that physical closeness, and having someone to depend on you. Here she is. How could that not make you feel a little bit better about feeling bad? I think that was my number one problem also, feeling bad about feeling bad. How about you just stop it at feeling bad? That's okay. That's enough feeling bad. You don't have to put yourself into prison for feeling bad. It is not a crime to feel bad. It is not a crime to be depressed. You're normal. That's part of the human experience. I know it's uncomfortable, but please try and, like, if you can, be friends with being uncomfortable, because that is what's going to make you an amazing person. I know, like, I've definitely dealt with depression, maybe not on the scale of the one caused by the trauma, but I've dealt with it on a low basis for my whole life. And I totally just got distracted and I have no idea what I was talking about. Anyways, next point. Set really small goals and celebrate like crazy when you hit them. Did you make yourself a sandwich? That is fucking awesome. Congratulations. Did you go to work and even though you hated it? Congratulations. The magic is still in you. That's what I was scared that the magic of me was gone. It never goes away. Never, ever, ever, ever. Seek motivation and inspiration every single day. Just like showering, you need to make it a priority to stay inspired. And the part of depression that's really shitty also is having to force yourself to do stuff all the time that you don't want to do. The thing is, I still do that. It just doesn't feel as awful. You know, like, do I really want to go meet my friend for lunch? I have to drive across town, and what's the point? You don't know the point. You don't know the point until it's done. That's what life is about. It surprises you. Give it time. Seriously, time. Just let time pass. Find things to do to fill the time. If that means reading a book, if that means watching TV, if that means going on a walk. I went on a lot of walks. Try and distract yourself. Try and learn. Is there anything that you can get into the flow of, like get lost in? A lot of people, like for me, one of those things is drawing. Meditation was incredibly helpful. Joining a meditation group. Really embracing the idea of Eastern culture that you can have negative emotions and it's not bad. That's, yeah. Orgasm, masturbate, those things set off chemical reactions in your brain as well that just feel freaking awesome. And for 1 second, you can be distracted. Don't quit going to things. Don't quit people. Don't push them away. Try not to. Let them see you this way. It's okay. It will strengthen your bond. Oh, something that really helped me was making a giant deck of inspirational cards, like writing, if I would read an article, if something stood out to me, I would write it down. So a lot of these things, just building a toolbox, because, some days this one thing, exercise isn't going to work, and the next day petting your cat will work, so it's different every day. But making cards which said stuff like, give it time, and just kind of the stuff that I'm talking about now, like trusting people, trusting the universe, reading a lot of books about codependency and emotional intelligence. That was super helpful. Things that my therapist said would go on to these note cards as well, and every time, I would need to look at them all the time. And this was actually a idea from my cousin, who had also gone through what I had gone through. And thank you, cousin, for that. Spend time with babies and animals. They're just fucking amazing. They still have that sense of wonder and joy, and just seeing the pure, unadulterated version of that kind of just hits the inside, which you feel like isn't there anymore. Remember, you're human. This is normal. You're not the only one. Force yourself to do fun things. Try and laugh. Really, try and laugh. Go to that play. Meet your friend for coffee. Just try and have fun. Don't try not to let it consume you. There are amazing things that are happening still. Write down just a few things that you're grateful for every day. So, okay. I'm going to finish up here. I know that was super rambly, but I hope that if it helps even one of you to feel a little bit like you can accept yourself in this stage and know that you might feel better soon. You don't know when. That's a shitty part of it too. You're like, when is this going to be over? And no one can give you a timeline. It took me almost a year. So I'm sorry that you're feeling shitty right now, but it'll be okay. I really do believe in you. And just practice. You'll never be perfect. Yes, embrace imperfection. Imperfection is so much fun. Look how imperfect this video was. Anyways, goodbye from me and Oreo. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Please email me or follow me on Instagram or something and write to me if you want to talk, or if you have any comments or questions. Please share this video with anyone that you think could benefit from it. Thank you.